Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're watching this video, I'm assuming that you have already watched all my previous sessions, right? And I'm assuming that you already know how to create a LWC component. So in particular, this session is dedicated on how to render multiple templates in a component, okay? So let's get started, okay? So till now, what we have seen is that if you create any LWC component, right, you would have seen three default files which comes along with creating a new LWC component, right? The first file is HTML file, and then the second file that you get is the JS controller file, and then the third file is meta.xml file, right? And if you guys remember, I've already told you that there's one optional file that you can create, right? That is nothing but .css file, correct? So let's say you have a scenario where you don't want to include everything into one HTML or one template file, and you want to break down your component into bits and pieces, right? And then do your rendering based on some condition, right? For example, let's say I'll give you an example. So if you can see my screen, what I've done is, if you see on the left hand side, right, what I will be doing is that I will be creating a multiple template demo component, okay? And that component will basically give me three default files, right? HTML file, JS file, and the meta.xml file, okay? So in this example, what I would be doing is that I'm going to tell you based on the UI, right, how the user is going to see this component, right? So the first page of the component will show you to choose your options, okay? There will just be a label, and then there'll be two buttons from where you have to choose one option. Either you can choose a sign in option or you can choose a sign up option, right? And based, if user clicks on sign in option, then I want to display a different template. And if user clicks on sign up option, then I want to display a different template with different stylings, right, for both the forms, sign in and sign up, okay? So obviously, right, in this case, what I want to do is, because I want to apply some different stylings, right, to my both the forms. So what I would be doing is that I would want to create a separate HTML file for my any of my forms, and say similarly I will also be creating a corresponding .css file, okay? So if you see the structure of this component, there are three default files, and what I've done is I've created two more HTML files and one more CSS file, okay? So I am basically I'm creating separate files for sign up and for sign in, right? So there'll be two template files, and I've created one .css file, okay? So first of all, you should know, right, what when to prefer multiple templates, right? Because if you would have seen conditional rendering video, we saw, right, that we can do any kind of conditional rendering in the same template file itself, right? In your HTML file, you can create nested templates, and based on true and false conditions, right, you can display whatever nested template part you want to display, right? But there's one thing to observe is that if there's a small template, right, let's say if you just want to show and hide a very very small portion of your page, right, then it is better to use true or false condition, right, that conditional rendering. But ideally it's always recommended to break down your component into smallest units, right? So whenever we have a scenario in which we have same business logic but we want to render a component with more than one look and feel, right, so that is when we can go ahead for multiple template rendering, right? So you can say whenever we have two design in same component, but not, we don't want to mix the HTML files into one, right? So what we can do is we can create multiple HTML files, and we can create a corresponding CSS file. Okay, so one thing here to notice is that whatever the name I would be giving to my HTML file, I have to give the same name to my CSS file, right? So I have given, for example, here I have given it as sign in template, right? Sign in temp.html. So my CSS name is sign in temp, right? So this has to be same, correct? So for whatever HTML, whatever corresponding CSS file that you're creating, the name has to be same, okay? Okay, so now the next question is that, like, how are you going to render? How are you going to render your templates? So we have a method called render. Okay, so this method will basically tell your component which template to load based on the conditions that you provide. Okay, and this method will always return you the template reference. Don't worry about it if you're not getting anything and if you're not understanding, because I believe that it's always better to talk about it and then jump on an example, right? So that is why I am trying to explain you before I start, like, with the example. Okay, so just try to understand whatever I'm telling. Okay, and then we'll definitely go ahead and do an example. Okay, so we will use render method in order to, like, for our component, which will basically, like, it will tell our component to, like, which template we want to load based on the conditions that we want to provide. Okay, so okay, so let me summarize again everything, all the steps that we would be doing. Okay, and then we can go ahead and start with the example. Okay, so the first thing that if you see the diagram on the right side, if you can follow it, right? So the first step that we would be doing is that in our JS file, right, the JavaScript controller file that we have, first of all, like, the first step would be to import all the templates into the component. So if you see the structure, right, how many templates do we have? We have 3 templates, right? So this one is the default one, but these two are not the default templates, correct? So what we will do, we will we have 3 templates in total, right? So the first thing that we have to do is we have to import all these 3 templates in our component JavaScript file. Okay, that is the first thing that we will do. The second step that we will do is we will create the property inside the component that we will use for checking the conditions, because of course, right, as I said, right, that on the UI, right, on the page that would be shown to user, he will have 2 options, right? One for sign in and one for sign up, right? So we have to create some kind of property in our component, right, using which, on which we will apply the conditions that based on the selection which template needs to be rendered, correct? So the third step is we will define the render method that will basically return the template reference based on the condition. Okay, as I said, the render method will always return the template reference, right, whichever you want to render. Okay, then the fourth step is that in our case we have 3 templates, right? So this one, right, multiple temp demo, the default component, right, this component, and then the other component that we have for sign in, and then the third template component that we have for sign up. Based on the conditions, we will appropriately load the templates. Okay, that would be the last step. Okay, so I think I believe you guys would have like, understood the basic requirement or the basic like, understanding of what we are going to do. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get started. And okay, and again, like, on the diagram, if you see, right, so in our render method, I would be basically, like, based on the condition, right? So on the label condition, right, if the label is sign in, then I will render the sign in template. If the label is sign up, then I will render the sign up template. Okay, otherwise the default template. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get started. We'll switch to our Visual Studio Code, and let's just go ahead and get started and create a LWC component, and we'll see how we can achieve it. Okay, so let me share my Visual Studio Code, and okay, let me close everything, and then I will create a Lightning Web component, right? So multiple template render demo. Okay, so this is my LWC component that I've created. Okay, so if you remember, right, from what I explained you about the example that we are going to do, I told you that the first page that the user would be seeing, in that page there would be 2 options, right? Either to choose sign in or to choose sign up. So what we have to do, so that means that we should be having 2 buttons, right? On this template, the default template, there'll be 2 buttons, and there should be a label, right, a label text which says that, like, choose your, like, options, whatever you want to select, right? So what we'll do is, so I have not told you guys about lightning card, but let's just go ahead and create a lightning card, so that, like, just to give a nice look and feel. Okay, so let me just go ahead and create a lightning card. And okay, okay, and in I'll just give a title to it. uh, mm, Multiple template render demo. Okay, so this is my title for this, and what I want to do is, the first thing that I want to give the user is, like, a label which says that, like, choose your option. Okay, so let's just create a div. Okay, create a div, and then inside this div I will be giving that label, and let's just keep it a little larger. So here I would just type in, like, select, or sorry, what did I do? Okay, select your option, select your option. Okay. Okay, now what I will do is, now I have to create two buttons, right? The first one is for sign up, the second one is for sign in. Okay, so lightning button. Okay, we have this control button. Okay, so the first button would be, the label would be, label would be sign up. Okay, sign up. So this is my label, and of course, right, based on the click of the buttons, I would be calling a function, right? I need to use the events. So on click, let's just define a function, and then, okay, here let's say handle click. Okay, handle click. Okay, this is my first button. Okay, and then I would be creating another button. And if you, I am not putting any style for now. Okay, so that, like, we'll not waste our time on understanding and putting, like, styling. Let's just first understand the logic and how it works. Okay, and then you can add any kind of styling, whatever you want. Label, let me just copy this. Okay, and sign in, right? And here also I have to give this on click. And here again, like, the same method we can use. We'll handle from there, handle click. Okay, right? So on my first page, what do I have? I have a page where there are two buttons, and user can select on any button, right? He can either select on sign up, or he can either select on sign in, right? And based on his selection, I want to render like, different templates, right? So let's just go to our JS file, or what we can do is, let's just first create the extra HTML files that we talked about. Okay, so what will I do? I will just go ahead and create sign in template and sign up template. Okay, so here, new file. Okay, new file, and let me give it a name as sign in, sorry, template. Okay, dot html. Okay, this one. And then I want to create another template. Okay, that would be sign up template, sign up template dot, sorry, dot html. Okay, so these are the two files that I created, and I will also create a CSS file. Okay, and I want to apply a different CSS to my template, sign in template. So I will be creating another CSS, like one extra file that would be a CSS file. So, and as I said, the name has to be same as the template file, right? So the, what was the name of the template file? Sign in template dot css. Okay, so these are the things that I have, and these are giving me error because there is no template tag. So let me just give that, so that at least it will save. Okay, okay, right? So 1 second. Okay, so now let's just go to the JS controller file and import all these templates, right? That's the step that we talked about, correct? So I will be navigating to the JS file, and what will I do? I will simply import all this template. Okay, so first of all, okay, this from here, this is where I would have to so import, and then you would have to, like, you can give any name, and then you have to, like, after, you'll understand once again. Here you can give any name, and then after that I have to write in from, and then I have to give the real name of the HTML template, right? The name which I would be giving here, that name I can use to refer this template, okay, whatever I'm importing in this line. So I would be giving the name as sign in. Let me give the same name, okay, sign in template, and then from, and here I have to, so the syntax is dot, and then okay, now I have to type in the template name, right? The template that I've created. So what is the first one? Sign in template, right? Okay, sign in template dot HTML. Okay, so I have imported this, and then similarly I have to import the other three templates. So let me just copy this. So here I would be, what is the name? Sign up template, right? Sign up template, and here also I have to give it as sign up template. Okay, and then the next one is the final one is the same name as the component name, right? So that is multiple temp render demo. Multiple temp render demo. So sorry, multiple temp render demo. Okay, and I will be copying in the same thing over here, right? Sorry. Okay, so this is the first step that we did. Okay, what we have done is we have imported all the templates. Okay, so first of all, what will I do? Let me go ahead and, like, declare a property. Okay, because we have to have a property, or you can say, like, a variable wherein I would be storing, like, what the user is selecting, if the user is selecting sign in, or if the user is selecting sign up. Okay, so I will go ahead and create another, I will create a property selected, and let me just initialize this with null, because like, when the page loads, nothing is, like, selected at that time. Okay. Now, if you guys remember, the thing is how we are going to render it. We are going to render based on the label of the button, right? What the user has selected, if he has selected sign in and or sign up, right? And what method we would be using. We would be using render method, right? So let's just go ahead and create the render method here. Okay, and what this method, as I said, right, this method will always return you the template reference. Okay, so just keep on watching the conditions that I would write, right? So it would return me if this dot selected, right? If my selected value is sign up, right? If my selected value is sign up, then it's gonna return me which template? Sign up template, right? Sign up template. Okay, and if my selected value is sign in, okay, this dot selected, if this is sign in, okay, if this is sign in, what would I be selecting? Which template should come up? Sign in template, right? So sign in template. Okay, and if not, if none of these are selected, then what should be displayed? The default template. Default. Okay, okay, just to like, be not, just to clear the confusion, let me give it a name as default template. I told you, right, whatever the name you give here for the import, template import, you can use this name anywhere, right? So let me give it the name as default template. Okay, so default template. Okay, so I have define my render method, and I have given my conditions that on what selection what should be rendered. Okay, now if you guys remember, I had, if we go back to the HTML, on the button click I had something called handle click. Okay, so now what we have to do is basically on this handle click I will take the label value, right? Because based on that label value I am I'm using that label value in my render method, correct? In this render method, what am I doing? I'm using this value, right? Label, this value selected, but I have not basically received the label from the button and then assign those value to this, right? So I have to do that, correct? So let's just go here, and then on handle click, what will I do? I will, okay, and what I'm going to do, this dot selected, okay, and what am I doing is, here is, if you guys remember the last session, event dot target, this time we are not taking the value, but we are taking the label. Okay, so I have given the label, and that's it. Okay, so now what will happen, the moment user clicks on the button, right, the label, we will get that label value on this, in this particular property, right? And based on that property I am trying to render the template, correct? Okay, so now let's just go ahead and what we can do is that there's one more thing that you can do, that let's say when user, we can create another button, right, which will be basically there on the form, and if user fills in anything he can click on the submit button, right? We can create another button called submit button, and based on the sign in, when he provides the info and clicks on the sign in, we can provide a message, right, that sign in successfully, or for sign up, right, if he provides all the info, and so we can give a message called sign up successfully. Okay, so we can do that, but let's just we can do that, we can include that later on. So let's just go ahead and now create our templates. Okay, so let me go ahead to the sign in template, sorry, sign in HTML, right? So generally what you guys have seen on the sign in template, right, it will be your username and your password, and then there'll be two buttons, right, mainly two buttons that you would have seen. One is the sign in button, the another button would be the back button, right, that you can go back to the previous page, right, the main page, right? So let's just go ahead and create a lightning card here, lightning card. Okay, and then in that lightning card I will create a div, right? Here I will give a label, right, and label can say anything, sign in form or something like that. So let me just go ahead and create something. So h2, sorry, h2, and sign in form. Okay, sign in form. So this is the label that I've given to the second template. Okay, and after that, what I want to do is I want to give two input boxes, right? The first one for the username, and then the second one for the password, correct? And then I would give two buttons, sign in and back button. Okay, so let me go ahead and create the first input box, lightning input. Okay, in this lightning input, what I have to do is I will be, because if you guys would have seen on the sign in forms, or sign in forms, basically if when you're entering the password is hidden, or so that you can define the type of the data type for the input box, that what kind of data you're going to enter. So for example, for username, I'll just give the type as text. Okay, and the label would be enter your username. Okay, enter username. Okay, so let me give it like this, enter username. Okay, now let me just copy this and create another input box, and here I would be giving the type as password. Okay, password, enter. Okay, and then I have to create two buttons, right, for one for the sign in, one for the back, but one would be for the back, to go to the main screen. Okay, so let me just copy this and I will change it. So there would be two buttons. Okay, the first one would be sign in button. Okay, sign in button. because we are on the sign in template, sign in button. And there's one more thing. Okay, we can discuss that later. And on click, I want to, let's just define another function. Okay, that what I want to do on the on click handler. And then this one will be handle click. And this is, I want to give it the, this is the back button, right? So now there's one more thing, right? There's a parameter called variant. Variant will basically give styling to your, this specific styling to your control, right? So for sign in, I want to show a green color. Okay, so let me give a success variant. Okay, and for back button, I will give a destructive variant, which will basically make the button a little red, I believe, but we'll see how it comes. Okay, so don't worry about it now. Okay, okay, so destructive. Okay, so this is my sign in form. Okay, what I've done is I have created, sorry, I have created two input boxes, one for username, one for password, and I've created two buttons, one for sign in and one is the back button, right? To go back to the main default template. Okay. So now let's just go ahead and create another, the other template, right? That we had, which was that sign up template. Okay. And sign up template will basically have few more details like first name, last name, and we can give email address and password. Okay. So first of all, let me go here and copy this because I don't want to type everything. Okay, so sign up form. Okay, here I will give enter first name. Okay, and last name. Okay, and what, and then email address, right? So here I will give the type as email, right? So that it will have a default validation. Enter email. Okay, and then enter password. Okay, and then what I have to do is I have to create the button also, right? So the buttons, we have it here, and let's just change the label for sign up. And for sign up, we can, let's just keep it the same method. We are not going to create any toast messages and things, so let's just keep it to one method. Okay, and the variant, we can keep it as success, and back should be fine too. Okay, and then that's it. I think we are good with this one. And okay. Okay, now let's just go ahead and create a you know CSS file for the sign in template, right? Because that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to create a different styling, right, for the CSS file. Okay, so I'll go to this sign in. So first of all, let me go to sign in template. Okay, so let's say I want to style this, right, h2 tag. So what will I do? I will give a very simple styling to h2 tag. Okay, what will I do? Let me give the size font size as, let's say, keep it as 30 px. Okay, and then I will give the color as red. Okay, red, and then a semicolon. Okay, so this is what I've done. Now I think we did everything. The only thing that we did not do is we have not written this method, right? Submit handler. So let's just go ahead to the JS file and write the submit handler method. As I said, right, we are not going to display any toast messages. So I'll just keep the conditions and I'll, like, we can put a console log for now. Okay, let's just go to JS, and one second, let me copy the method submit handler. Okay, and then go to the JS file. So here, submit handler, right? And event, what I want to do is if, okay, if my event dot target dot label, right? Because we will be driving according to the labels value, right? And then, sorry. if it is sign in, okay, if it is sign in, then what we want to do is, we are not doing anything right now. Let's just put a console.log, okay, and then I'll say sign in successfully. Sorry. Okay, and then let me give else if, okay, so copy this, else if this is sign up, okay, if this is sign up successful, okay, and then in else condition we will not keep anything, let's just keep it blank for now. Okay, so I think we have covered all the steps that we had discussed, right? Now we have to go and make the changes to the meta file. And record page, I'll keep this on the record page. Okay, and I think okay, I think we are ready to deploy this, and we'll try it out on the UI, how it looks, and if we have achieved what we were looking for. Okay, so I believe I have not authenticated my org, so let me just go ahead and do it. Okay, so 1 second, and let me share my full screen. I believe I'm not sharing my full screen. Okay, so I'm doing this. Okay, so authorize custom, and login. Okay, so now I can deploy my component. Okay, this should be successful in a few seconds. Okay, now let me deploy this. Deploy. Okay, now let's just go ahead and include this component on any of our contact pages, like the same page that we were using in the previous session. So the name of the component is multiple render demo, right? Okay, and let me remove the previous components that we had included. So I'll remove it, and multiple render demo. Okay, so here it is, and we can save it. Let's just go back and see if the different templates are getting rendered or not. Okay, so here, this is the label that and again, as I said, right, I have not given styling to each and everything. Okay, so if you, I mean, when you are working on something, obviously you will work based on the, like, requirement that you have, and you will do your own beautification to the component, right? So let's just go ahead and check, like, if the template render is happening or not. So if I click on sign in, the sign in form should appear. It should only ask me for username and password. If I click on sign up, it should ask me the first name, last name, and email, and then the password, right? So that's how it should work. So let's just click on sign in. So this is my sign in form, but okay, I am not seeing my controls and then the buttons. So hold on, let me go back. Sign in form, right? So sign in template. Okay, this is weird. Why is it not showing me the buttons? I have, okay, 1 second. what I've done, I've just created a lightning card, right? And then I have two input boxes, lightning buttons, and that's all, right? Mm, let me check if I forgot to include anything. I think I have, okay. If it was sign in, then it was supposed to throw me on sign in template, which it did, right? Sign in form. Where is the sign in template? Sign in template. Oh, sorry. This is the sign in template. Sign in form. It is showing me the sign in form. The lightning input text and username. Let me 1 second. Let me see what's okay. Both are in the same condition. What I can do is let me go ahead and create a separate section for this component first, so it will be more clear to us. Okay. So let us go and create a tab. Okay. I'm creating a, and here let me remove. Okay. I'll remove this, and in here I will just drag and drop my component. Okay. Here it is, and save. So now let me go ahead and check. No, let me remove the lightning card and then I'll see how it behaves. Basically, they should not create any issues, but let's just see. Okay. Or hmm, let me deploy this. I have deployed HTML, so I didn't need to clear the cache, but I'll do it anyway. Let's just go ahead and check. Okay, the spelling is wrong. Label and should be label. Okay, this is fine. And let me put back the, I think I removed it. So let me put it back. Okay, so and this is my sign in template, right? Sign in form. Okay, and let's just go ahead and check in sign up as well. Here also it's wrong. That is why it was not showing up. And save. Let me deploy this. Okay, and sorry, the name should be as it is. template. Okay, this is fine. And we had initialized this with null, right? Because starting nothing would be selected, correct? So let me deploy this again. Let's just go ahead and reload this. Okay. So now if I click, it should work. Okay. Sign in button should like, navigate me to the sign in form. Okay. So here I can enter anything and I'll enter anything here, password, and I haven't done anything on these buttons, right? So I mean, I've just put a console, right? On a back button, I was throwing the page to the back screen, right? The main screen, default screen. So similarly, if I click on sign up, it's giving me the sign up form. Okay. Right. Okay, so this is how you can multiple, like, how you can render multiple templates based on your condition, right? So if you see, I have only applied, like, styling on this one, right? The second template, sign in, because I created one file, right? I created one file for sign in template.css. So similarly, you can create another CSS file for sign up template, and you can name it as sign up template.css. It has to be exactly same as the name of the template file. So let's say if you want to create a CSS file for the main default template, right? You have to create a CSS file with this name, okay? Multiple render demo.css. Okay, so this is how you can have multiple templates, and you just need to use render method, and based on the selections, based on your conditions, you can render multiple templates. Okay, I hope you guys, if you have not understood everything completely, at least now you have the idea, or you have the steps in your mind that what and all you need to do in order to render multiple templates. Okay, I'll see you in the next session. Bye bye.